What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. UFC 305 Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya botched. Took place just a couple hours ago. I already reacted to the full card with my breakdown and reaction, but now we're going to be talking about every fight to make next. Hopper MMA is actually retardedly quick at getting this video out, so unfortunately I'm not the first person to post this video, but I'm doing my own matchups. I'm thinking about which fights should happen next, but also which fights probably will happen. So like, there is an element of what I want to see in a lot of them, but there's also an element of realism and me thinking that the UFC will not book certain matchups that other people might say are better to book. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Make sure to like, subscribe. We're almost at 10k at the time of recording this video, so yeah, hit that button. And yeah, comment which fights you want to see next. But yeah, let's get into it. Now, for Dricus du Plessis, my selection will be Khamzat Chimaev. Now, the reason why, I'll explain it, because I have a bad feeling that Khamzat is going to bum rush Whittaker, overwhelm him with pressure, and finish him in round one. If he doesn't, and if Whittaker wins this fight, which is a 5-round fight, so if it gets out of the first, I'm very confident Whittaker wins. But if Khamzat wins, which I suspect he will, then not confident, but I just have a feeling he's going to win. I think you do Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. I also think that even though Dana White right now is saying Strickland's next, I think if Khamzat goes out there and finishes Whittaker in round one, recency bias is going to be in full effect, and also Strickland's fight against Costa sucked. I think there's going to be more pressure, more calls from the fans than ever to be like, fuck Strickland, he's not that fun. He had a fun fight with Dricus and that was about it. The Costa fight sucked apart from like the last 10 seconds. Whittaker in that time has beaten Costa in a more fun way than Strickland did. Also KO'd Ikram in round one. And then if he goes out and beats Khamzat, he would deserve it more than Strickland too. Even Dricus said that. Maybe you could say there's an element of, Strickland was a harder fight for Dricus, so he wants the easier fight. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. I think Dricus is fine to take on anyone. I think he just respects the work Whittaker's putting in, who's not being a bitch and being like, here's the thing, man. I'm going to sit out for a title shot, man. Like, he's just fighting. And I guarantee you, bro, if he goes out there and beats Khamzat, and then, like, he goes out there and beats Khamzat, if the UFC is like, sorry, bro, Strickland's getting a title shot, would you mind just fighting a Mavov in the meantime? He'll probably fucking fight a Mavov in the meantime. Like, this dude just fights. It's the same thing he did after the first Izzy fight, up until the second one. Like, he's like, all right, fuck it. Till, Gastelum, Cannonier, sweet, I'll knock you all down, get back to my title shot. Like, he has no issue fighting as many times as he need to prove himself. So I think that's a valuable thing. So if he wins, and that's a real thing, as Chael Sonnen would say, so if he wins, I think he'll get it, but I think Khamzat's going to win, and I think if Khamzat wins, they're going to be so like, okay, fuck this, we're not making this dude sit out, we're not, or maybe they will make him sit out, but like, we're not risking putting this dude in another fight to kill momentum where he's going to pull out of a fight. If we get Khamzat to the cage, to fight night, healthy, and he wins, give the man a fucking title shot. I know they probably can't really trust Khamzat. You're going to need a backup fighter on hand for sure. And that's where I think Strickland could step in. If Khamzat goes out there, subs Whittaker, or finishes him in round one, go book Dricus versus Khamzat. That's most certainly not going to be in South Africa. You're not booking that fight in South Africa. But yeah, book that fight wherever, and then just have Strickland as the backup and be like, Strickland, you're the backup. Khamzat's like 95% likely to fucking pull out of the fight. If he doesn't, you got next anyway. I think Strickland would be okay with that. In that case, he still technically gets to wait, even though he should arguably be fighting again. But yeah, I think this is the fight to make. Winner of... So my selection here is not necessarily just Khamzat. It's the winner of Khamzat versus Whittaker, which right now I do have a feeling is going to be Khamzat Chimaev. So yeah, that's my selection. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Strickland gets the next title shot. But yeah, I know the first fight was close, but I want to see Dricus rattle off different names. Like, bro, this guy, resume is low-key kind of crazy. Like, Tavares, Till, Brunson, Whittaker, Strickland, Adesanya. Like, I want to see, I'm all for, when we look down someone like Volk's resume, you'd be like, Holloway 3 times. Like, that's sick. Or Makhachev beat Volk twice. CGI fights. We can respect multiple wins over someone, but like, if Strickland just goes, like, if his record is just like Dricus, Costa, Dricus, and then Dricus's record is just Strickland, Adesanya, Strickland, I don't know, it's just, you got to let it sit a little bit more, let it marinate a bit, let more build up, and I think right now, if Strickland goes into a title shot, there won't be as much excitement. I think if he goes out there, gets another win, and has a fun fight against maybe a Whittaker or against someone else, then there's a lot more build and there's a lot more excitement for a potential rematch. With this, if you just do it right now, I feel like a lot of people are kind of not that high on Strickland. They know he's a good fighter, but he's not impressing the fans entertainment-wise. So yeah, I'm saying Khamzat versus Whittaker, winner fights Dricus du Plessis, my selection. Let's move on to the loser of the main event, Israel Adesanya. For Izzy, you can probably put the pieces together about why I'm going here, because I think Khamzat's going to beat Robert Whittaker, and in that case, I think Khamzat will get the title shot, and then I don't think they're going to run Izzy versus Strickland as a non-title fight. That is possible, to be fair, but I think what's more likely is a potential trilogy as a either pay-per-view, like co-main event or whatever, or a potential fight night main event in Australia/New Zealand. They're going back there a lot more regularly now. They got fights in Perth to do. They got the Sydney deal. And apparently word on the block is they're going back to Melbourne, or going back to Australia, which is sick. So I'll go to that. So that's great. So if they do that, I think this is a suitable fight. I think this would be a great retirement fight for Izzy, to be honest. I know he didn't retire here. I thought he was going to. He kind of took his gloves off. I was like, he might call it. I think the perfect way to retire, Robert Whittaker in Australia. I don't think he's got anything left to prove after that. I know if he wins, he's going to be like, I'm going to work my way back to a title shot and I'm going to bounce back like a boomerang. Botched. But I don't think there's much left for Izzy to prove. He's been a good champion. He hasn't been a good champion. He's given some moments, he's had some cringy mic moments. But like if he goes out there and either loses or if he loses to Rob, definitely retire. If he wins, he could probably be like, I'm one away from a title shot, trust. And then try and get a title shot again, because I'm sure they would have appetite to do this again because it would sell. But again, like, I don't know, if Izzy goes out there, beats Rob, and then they just do Dricus Izzy too, like, I'll watch it, but, like, I'm not going to be like, oh my god, I'm looking for, like, we saw how this fight went, it wasn't dominant, it could go either way again, but, like, I feel like it's kind of like, if Izzy goes out there and KOs Dricus in the rematch, like, it takes away from the first fight, and everyone's like, and then there's going to be Kenny Okoye fuckheads being like, it was a fluke, trust. So I think you got to let the first result sit. You don't always need to just do rematches. I don't think Izzy deserves it either. He would need like at least 2 more, in my opinion, to get one. So yeah, I think he should do a retirement fight. Whittaker shouldn't retire after this, but I think Izzy should fight Whittaker in Australia or New Zealand and then retire regardless of the result, to be honest. But let's move on to the next fight. Next up, we got Steve Erceg versus Kai Kara-France. I don't know why I said Steve Erceg first, but Kai Kara-France got a nice win by KO. It was very unfortunate to see rip bedtime. But no, Kai versus, I think he should fight Brandon Royval with a loss to Tatsuro Taira is my selection. Now, you could do the loser of a potential title fight between Pantoja and Kai Sakura. That's also a decent call. But I feel like that's going to happen in maybe November, December. This fight with Royval's happening in October. And if Royval loses, I don't think he's going to take much damage. I feel like he's going to get subbed. That'll be my prediction. I'm picking Taira by sub. I think he's going to get subbed. I think he's going to want to get back on the horse. He'll be pissed off. He's like, I want to get back in there. And then I think you redo this rematch, or you run this rematch back sometime early next year in Australia or New Zealand again on that maybe Izzy card. Like if you get a Taira, like Izzy versus Rob main event, Taira versus if you get like a Volk versus like winner of okay, hear me out. Volk versus the winner of Topuria Holloway in Australia. Whittaker Izzy co-main event. Kara-France versus Thingy feature fight, and then this next fight for Erceg can also be on the card. I'm cooking up a go to Australia card, and then maybe Jack Della versus someone too. Amazing card that I could cook up for like next year, early next year Australia card in like February. That's usually when they go there. Like they went there with 284. So yeah, I reckon that'll be a good idea. I keep saying Kai Sakura. Kai Kara-France versus Royval. You could do a loser of Pantoja Asakura. I think if Pantoja loses to Asakura, unless Taira wins against Royval, I think they're going to probably do a rematch. But if Taira wins against Royval, they're definitely doing Japanese. They're definitely doing a card in Japan. But yeah, Kai Kara-France versus Brandon Royval is the fight, I think, to make after I assume Royval's going to lose to Taira. But anyway, let's move on to the next fight. This is what I'm talking about. Steve Erceg versus Manel Kape. We need to bring Kape back to Australia. It's just something that needs to happen. This is what I was talking about at the start of the video when I said not everything's going to be realistic. Because they're definitely not bringing Kape back to Australia after last time. But imagine, Volk versus Topuria Holloway winner. Adesanya Whitaker co-main. Kai Kara France versus Royval feature fight. Or like a Jack Della Maddalena feature fight. This can be the second fight on the main card, and then Manel Kape versus Steve Erceg opens up the main card. Imagine, that's a sick fucking Australia card. I might do an Australia card build at some point down the line. But if after the winner of... or the next time like an Australia card gets announced to be happening, I'll definitely do this. But yeah, this would be sick. I do have a bad feeling that Erceg might get KO'd and continue the flyweight Dominic Reyes run, which would be really tough to watch, which is why I was tempted to be like, okay, give this guy Mateus Nicolau and he can just get a free KO. But this might, like, Erceg might just Reyes max and go from like close fight for the belt, loses, then fights some white dude with a bunch of power, aka Blachowicz / Kai Kara France. Then he loses. I know then Reyes fought Yuri, but we just skip past the Yuri stage, go to the Ryan Spann stage, just a black dude, and then he's going to get KO'd. So it's going to look identical to the fucking Dominic Reyes run, which would be tough, but it would be low-key kind of like, it wouldn't be funny, but it would be like super weirdly like scripted almost looking Reyes storyline, and then he comes back a year later and KOs, I don't know, like Charles Johnson or some shit, like the Dustin Jacoby of the division. I don't know. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the fight I think needs to be made. I mean, you could give him a major step down and do him versus like Tim Elliott or some shit. I wouldn't mind that. Just a less risky matchup. Tim Elliott, like the winner of Nicolau versus Almabayev, maybe the winner of Sumadurgi versus Charles Johnson. But I think these two are going to be on a similar schedule because Kape broke his toe against Makayev. He's not usually the most active guy anyway. Erceg's been active this year, but he just got KO'd pretty bad. So he needs to take time off. Do not fight again this year at all. Fight like March next year or February. And yeah, Manel Kape versus Erceg. That's a good fight to make. But let's move on to the next matchup. Next up, Dan Hooker needs to fight Justin Gaethje next. Charles Oliveira is also an option, but I think Oliveira's already like looking to fight in like October, November. I think he's going to fight this year. Hooker took some damage. Gaethje still needs to take more time off after the Holloway KO. This fight's perfect. These two are just going to fucking slug it and just have a barn burner. Oh my god, chat. You're not even chat. Viewers, add this to this like hypothetical, ridiculously stacked Australia card. This is what I'm talking about. Volk versus Topuria Holloway. I've repeated this card now like 4 times. Volk versus Topuria Holloway winner. Whitaker versus Adesanya co-main. Gaethje versus Dan Hooker feature fight. Jack Della Maddalena versus like fucking someone. That fight. Kai Kara France Royval opens up the main card. Erceg Kape headlines the prelims. Imagine that card. Imagine you got this on the same card as like a Volk and an Adesanya fight. Bro, that'd be nuts. Because now, Dan Hooker's always been a fun fighter, but now you can actually put him in a position where you can give this dude top 5 opponents. Like, you can make a Dan Hooker fight on a pay-per-view add like 50k buys by giving him like Oliveira, Poirier, Gaethje, even like a Chandler rematch I wouldn't hate, but he might die. I don't know. But yeah, like this, you can do really, like that's the big 3 there. Obviously, Holloway's down at featherweight. He is in the UFC rankings, but like, yeah, Gaethje, Holloway, Poirier. You can't really go wrong with one of those. Obviously, the Poirier fight would be a rematch. But yeah, you can't go wrong with any of those on a pay-per-view feature fight or co-main event of a pay-per-view would be nuts. I think Gaethje's the like least star out of the 3, out of Oliveira, Poirier, and him. I think that would be like the least like unrealistic matchup to be like, oh yeah, let's just casually chuck Oliveira versus Hooker as like the feature fight of a pay-per-view. Like, I feel like that's unlikely. I feel like Oliveira and Poirier are dealing like exclusively in like co-main events or higher now. But Gaethje you can put in that feature fight slot, I feel like. So yeah, Gaethje versus Dan Hooker would just be a fight of the fucking year. Unless one of them got chinned early, because they both might low-key like have their chins cracked by now. Like, they could come back and just one of them just gets KO'd with a jab. Like, I'm really worried about Gaethje coming back. I would probably still pick him to beat up Dan Hooker, because Hooker does just get beaten up a lot, and Gaethje's got real good power. But yeah, make this fight. Anyway, let's move on. Mateusz Gamrot versus BSD / the winner of Moicano BSD, which I think is going to be BSD. If Moicano beats BSD, you can probably just run the Paddy fight. But yeah, I think this will be sick. Gamrot versus BSD as well. You could easily do this in on a Europe card. Fight night main event Europe, on some sort of Europe main event, either Poland or France, if they want to do 2 France cards a year. Because now, here's the fucking thing, man. They've got BSD, Amavov, Gane, and then potentially a Manon Fiorot women's 125 title shot. All 4 of those can main event France cards. So they could easily do 2 Paris cards or 2 France cards next year. Especially if BSD and Amavov both win. Amavov you can main event in a number 1 contender fight. And then if BSD wins, yeah, you can give him back to another top 10 opponent, because they clearly like BSD a lot. That's the reason why they're putting him straight in a main event against an opponent higher ranked than him. And that's also the reason why they gave him the Poirier fight after beating Favola. He's promotable as fuck. The French audience loves him. He's massive over there. So yeah, if BSD gets an impressive win against Moicano, run him versus Gamrot in Europe sometime, Paris, Europe, whatever, main event of a fight night, easy sellout. This will be sick. And after watching that, I'm not sure. Who would you pick in a fight with Gamrot and BSD? Let me know. Because I feel to beat BSD, you kind of just got to whoop his ass on the feet. And I don't think Gamrot's just going to beat him up on the feet. Not many people really take this dude down easily. It's going to be tough for Gamrot to out-grapple him. I might put up a poll on my channel. Who would win 5 rounds, Gamrot, BSD? I'll put up a poll. I know everyone will say Gamrot, but because everyone thinks BSD's a bum after losing to Poirier. But anyway, let's move on to the next matchup. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, my brother. The level of disrespect. 30-27 scorecard is insane, my brother. That's my Moicano impression. It's pretty shit. But Jairzinho Rozenstruik, my brother, needs to fight Sergey Pavlovich. This should just be a fucking slug, and they just slug this out. We know we can bring back racially motivated Pavlovich. His last fights have been Aspinall and Volkov. He's not going to cause harm to 2 Euro Chads. We need racially motivated Pavlovich back. Lewis, Blades, Tai Tuivasa, I guess. Rozenstruik. He's the fucking blackest of the black. I'm sorry. That's a terrible thing to say, but he is. He's darker than all of them. So Pavlovich should have more motivation than ever. Chuck this on a pay-per-view main card opener or something, or a fight night main card. Could be a fight night main event of an arena or an Apex main event. But yeah, Rozenstruik, my brother, versus Sergey Pavlovich. This would just be a banger. They're just going to slug it. I think Pavlovich should win this. But Rozenstruik's looking not bad. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Tai Tuivasa versus Chris Barnett. It's the last chance, bro. Ty, if you lose to Chris Barnett, you're cooked. It's 0-5, but I feel the UFC is still going to keep him around. I assume he's still under contract, otherwise we would have heard something. So yeah, they're going to keep him around. Something, I'm looking down the heavyweight rankings. I was thinking Rebellis, but I didn't want to be mean. But even he could KO Rebellis, to be fair. But knowing Ty, bro, Rebellis would out-wrestle him. But Barnett's fighting Waldo Cortez. The reason I think Waldo's going to beat him, but I actually don't want to do Waldo as Ty, because Waldo could just grapple him. Because Waldo discovered that he's actually capable of shooting a double leg. It's very frustrating. So we don't want that. But yeah, do Barnett versus Tuivasa. That would be funny. Add that on this Australia card that I'm building. Why not? But anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Carlos Prates, fighting nerds. The level of disrespect, my brother. No, but Carlos Prates, he's a fucking good-ass fighter, bro. Luque, I'm sorry, buddy, you're cooked. Your time has come. You must meet death. I feel bad for doing this. But I looked down the welterweight rankings. Holland's booked. MVP, I doubt they do that. Luque, obviously. Jeff Neal. Buckley booked. Jeff Neal's booked against RDA. Wonderboy's booked. Brady's booked. Burns is booked. Gary not gonna fucking fight Prates. Gary's not fighting Prates. He's gonna let her fuck his wife, or let him fuck his wife. That's the only thing Gary wants to do with Prates. Well, I guess he's not black though. But anyway, Prates versus Luque. Again, this is not what I would like to see happen. I don't want to see Luque die. Literally die. He would die if this fight happened. Don't know if I mentioned he would die. But Luque, I feel like if they can't rebook this Diaz one, which I feel like they might just not be able to, and it'll kind of just fall apart. If not, do that, sure. But if they can't rebook the Diaz fight, I think they might just kill. Magny, I forgot to mention too. He's booked though. I wouldn't mind Magny because Magny, I have no issue with seeing get KO'd. But yeah, Luque, I could see them doing this. They recognize Luque's washed. They recognize he's going to get KO'd with a fucking jab at this point. And yeah, Prates would lay this dude out inside 2 minutes. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Here's another fight to add to the hypothetical Australia card. Walter Walker versus Justin Tafa. He beat the junior Tafa. We're going with Justin now. These two just, like, they love, the Tafa brothers love sharing opponents. They both fought Parker Porter. Justin was scheduled to fight Marcos Sergio de Lima, and then Junior stepped in. Junior was scheduled to fight Carl Williams. Justin stepped in. You can just run this. I'm surprised they didn't do fucking Justin Tafa versus Mo Usman at this rate. But yeah, run this. There was some, I don't think there was any controversy because that's the rules. And as I said in my recap video, Junior Tafa's a retard. Fucking hate to look at. His face looks fucking annoying to look at as well. He just looks like a dickhead. It looks like a fucking smug little cunt. I'm saying this as a fucking 17-year-old who's like 5'9". I would definitely get KO'd by him, but yeah, it pissed me off to look at. But no, Junior Tafa pisses me off. He's shit as well. He's not good at fighting. Can't defend the takedown to save his life. But yeah, run. He was whinging about the stoppage, even though you screamed out in pain, which literally means it's a verbal tap. So yeah, quit yapping. But run this, there you go. I think Walter Walker called him out anyway, so yeah. Tafas can continue sharing opponents, and Walter Walker would, in fact, double leg Justin Tafa and lay on top of him. But fair enough, bro got a heel hook at heavyweight. When the fuck's the last time you've seen someone get a heel hook at heavyweight? Bro needs to teach Cyril Gane how to grapple. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Jack Jenkins versus Gavin Tucker. It's pretty fucking easy. He literally called him out. He gave the location, Edmonton, Canada. Bro took basically no damage. His fists and his legs probably took more damage than his face. Get beaten up Herbert Burns. It's tough. But yeah, Edmonton, November 2nd, Canada. He called for it. Exact date, exact opponent. Easy, make it happen. Let's move on then to the last fight. Jesus Aguilar versus Ray Saruya. Look, this is, if you know, Tatsuro Taira. Border control. What link do those two things have? I'm not sure. You might have to tell me. No, but Ray Saruya. Guess who he beat in his debut? Carlos Hernandez. Guess who Carlos Hernandez just lost to before that fight? Tatsuro Taira. So what we're going to be doing, and also, coincidentally enough, Jesus Aguilar, also opponent of Tatsuro Taira. So we're going to just send these Mexicans through the border patrol. They're going to get sent through. They're going to get sent back. They try and cross the fence. They try and cross the wall. They get sent back. They try and go again another way around, and then you get met by Ray Saruya, and he's going to fucking grapple fuck you. So that's what we needed to continue the border control, get these two at the south border, and they can hold back the entire fucking country of Mexico. So yeah, make this happen. But it does make sense rankings-wise as well. Aguilar's not a prospect. Ray Saruya is. Aguilar's lost fights. It's not like they're trying to build him up. But anyway, that is everything. That is every fight to make, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I had some fun with this one. It's a good yap, good laugh. Let me know which fights you guys want to see next in the comments as well. The other ones are bums. Who cares about anyone else, to be honest? Jing Liang, I feel bad for him. Give him, someone shit. Who else? Fucking Junior Tafa can go fuck off. You can fight Carl Williams or some shit. Again, yeah, Junior Tafa versus Carl Williams. There you go. We can do more opponent sharing. Who else? Fucking Ricardo Ramos, Culibao. Both of them are retarded. I don't care. Casey O'Neill, Luana Santos. I don't know. Casey O'Neill can fight Viviane Araujo or some shit. Santos can fight Mackenzie Dern, even though they're not in the same weight class for reasons that I don't need to say. Herbert Burns can fight Tony Ferguson. I think that's the only chance Tony's got of getting a win at this point. Who else we got? Alex Reyes. Tom Nolan, I don't care about him. He sucks. Alex Reyes, I don't know. Give him Trevor Peake. What else? We got, I'm going off the top of my head here. Rick Glenn and Song Kanan, they looked awful. Maybe Rick Glenn versus Tony Ferguson is not a bad idea. And then last fight, Stuart Nickel, he can go and fight some bum. So yeah, that's every fight to make, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe. Almost at 10k, and you want to know what's coming at 10k? The gayest fighters tier list, because that's what you guys are requesting, because you want me taken off YouTube. But anyway, yeah, peace out, guys. I'll be live streaming tomorrow, assuming we hit 10k. I'm gonna do a long live stream, and we're gonna have some fun on that stream. Again, no Diddy. Anyway, goodbye. Peace out.